Hello, in this PowerPoint presentation I'm going to present the results of a research that I conducted on a purposive sample of 195 students in 2 community colleges in the Tampa Bay area in Florida. First of all, I was interested in the educational attainment differential rates because they contribute so heavily to social conflict. And in general, social conflict springs from weak social institutions which in their turn are responsible for weak social cohesions in the economy and in politics. You can find many examples. Education is a weak social institution, and they're seriously weak social institutions, especially the secondary education, because the tertiary education is doing very well in the United States. The secondary, however, is suffering. Kozol has delivered a powerful argument against the unequal school quality that has fluctuated along lines that border on ethnicity and race, and he has heavily condemned the segregated schools in the area of East St. Louis that he examined. The less schooling you have, the more likely you are to be involved in crime and to suffer from poverty. So it makes sense that the more schooling you have, the less the chances are that you're going to be suffering from those two conditions. So schooling does have social benefits that may exceed the private return. One strong example is that 1% increase in the high school completion rate of all men ages 20 to 60 would save the United States close to $1.4 billion per year in reduced costs from crime. Not only do we have conflict between the groups that have graduated and have not graduated from high school, but also within ethnic groups themselves, because we have the Hispanics and the Blacks at the very low stratum of educational attainment in high school, and the whites and the Asians at the upper level of graduation rates. Even within the Hispanic community, we have even further conflict because we have Cubans and Colombians scoring quite highly, and Mexicans and Salvadorians, however, they score low. So it is imperative to assess the causes of schooling inequality because we want to adopt certain policies that may alleviate this social conflict. What has been done so far? Well, not much, at least from an effectiveness point of view. The governmental policies focused on 2 things: the No Child Left Behind legislation and paper performance legislation. The No Child Left Behind Act imposed annual testing in reading and mathematics and targets to be met by individual schools. But later the interest focused on paper performance that reward teachers according to the performance of their students. There is heavy criticism against both of those steps. For example, for the performance indicators perspective, Nichols and Berliners demonstrated that they were corruptible indicators because of the high stakes involved, like job security, bonus pay, achievement of a high school degree. There is intense criticism against those governmental policies, but the purpose of this paper is, and this presentation is not to concentrate on those criticisms, but to see what other social indicators could be assessed to give us a better picture of why certain students are failing in our high schools. Could it be the teachers, the schools, the family? Shall we go on guessing, or shall we ask the students and ask them what is their perception of their high school experience? Given the fact that the students we're asking are quite older, they're not 16 or 17, the average age in a community college is 29, so they have quite some time to reflect and assess the situation objectively. We chose a non-probability purposive sample of 195 community college students that took an online survey in the spring semester of 2012. And the first question was how satisfied they were with the school's infrastructure. And we see here that the vast majority were satisfied. The second question was what percentage of the teachers were satisfactory. We see that, okay, there was a good amount of teachers that were satisfactory. And we also wanted to find out that if the school offered after-school tutoring services, and the answer was yes, for a great majority. So far we saw that the majority of the students were satisfied with the school infrastructure, and by infrastructure we mean the teachers, the tutoring, and the school building itself. So now we go ahead and ask them what they thought was responsible for their success or failure. For their success, the three top factors is personal predisposition, teachers, number 2, family values, number 3, and then peers, parents' income, and the media. When it comes to failure, number 1 again is personal predisposition, number 2 is peers, number 3 is teachers, and then we have family values, media, and parents' income. It's a very interesting observation because we find out that the very first cause is not the teachers or the school, it is the students themselves. So if they are in a position to have such an insight in their performance, shouldn't they be in a position to actually evaluate the teachers? So I'm taking it for granted here that they are in a position to evaluate the teachers, something that has been ignored. And I asked them what are the attributes that make a teacher satisfactory. And the number 1 attribute was knowledge of the subject, followed by enthusiasm, followed by respect for the student, followed by the application of the topic to the real world, followed by course organization, fairness, prompt grading, discipline in the class, flexibility, frequent testing, and use of technology came last. I also asked them how they classify the job of the high school teacher, and the vast majority said that it was very difficult, so they're fully aware of the challenges involved. Then I asked them if they could evaluate the teacher subjectively or they would be influenced by popularity. The vast majority said no, they would be objective. So why don't we do it? Some other interesting questions that I added to see what they thought could be added to their high school to make it a bit better, and they said that they needed more courses on science and math, English and social sciences, and then less votes for foreign languages, arts, history, and sports. I also asked them what was their average performance in their high school, and you can see that we get a strong B in the responses. So the 3 top factors here for success was personal predisposition, teachers, and family. For failure, personal predisposition, peers, and teachers. Personal predisposition is number 1. My suggestion, in a nutshell, is that the teachers should be evaluated by the students because they show the maturity and the appreciation to judge objectively and look for the attributes that actually do make a teacher successful. So that was the first recommendation, that we need more evaluations by the students. And also, my second suggestion is that we need more research on the power of personal will, on teaching families to emphasize education, to see how the teacher's performance is changing after frequent students' evaluations, and also more research on how students perceive peer influence and how we can change